Nobody can make you feel any way, anything without your permission. Eleanor Roosevelt is credited with saying this, the former First Lady, and it is so true, but so hard to live. You get to decide what everything means. That's what our lesson is today. Our setup for success today as part of the preliminary work, getting ready for the next 30-day Get Up and Go challenge. We're talking about life lessons, things that we've learned, those of us that are older, along the way, that have been maybe hard-fought lessons. And one of those is that we feel things so deeply, and outside environment, the things outside of us, the people outside of us, mostly people, have the ability to push our buttons, trigger our emotions, and literally make us feel like we feel a certain way. The truth is, we always, each and every one of us, get to choose and get to decide how we're going to respond and react to absolutely everything. I was talking to my son-in-law with my daughter last night, and he is in an apprenticeship program out in Colorado, several states away. She's home visiting, and he's on a new crew, a new team, and the leader, the foreman, is just terrible to him. He's yelling at him all the time. He's doing all these things, and he's just trashing him. And my son-in-law's worried that he's got to take his journeyman exam this next Friday, and it's wrecking his confidence. It's chipping away and making him question and doubt his capability and his abilities. Now, the truth is, what's going on is there's been a new journeyman that came into the picture, and since the foreman feels like he can't say anything negative or give any feedback to the journeyman who's causing challenges on the job, he's using my son-in-law as the person, the whipping boy, the person that gets yelled at for everything. And we were having the conversation which triggered this and reminded me that this is a great lesson. Nobody and nothing outside of us can make us feel anything. Now, I had a lot of practice with this one, like decades, because I was married to somebody that was very, very controlling. And I allowed that, right? I gave that person permission to treat me in ways that weren't always positive and nice. And I'd done it not only in my personal relationships, but in other areas of my life. Sometimes we have siblings that don't necessarily treat us in very kind or positive or uplifting ways. Sometimes we have parents that do that. But ultimately, at some point, we all choose and get to decide how we're going to feel, how we're going to think about ourselves and about everything else, about our situations, about our feelings. Now, the tricky part about feelings is we feel things first and then we justify things with reason. Now, if we feel something negative, our brain and our subconscious starts to justify it with all the reasons why it's true about us, even if it's absolutely positively false. So say somebody makes you feel stupid or does something or calls you stupid, and all of a sudden your subconscious and your brain starts feeding you all the times in your past, no matter how old you are, all the way back to when you were like 1 and learning to walk, that you ran into a wall or something and that was somebody said, oh, that was stupid, and starts laughing. I mean, there can be things like that your brain is just going to start feeding up and piling on that make you actually feel more intensely about that emotion. Now, is what the other person said, hey, that was stupid or you're stupid, was that all of those things piled on, or was that you piling on all those things to make the feeling and the intensity even worse? Well, it was us, of course. We do that. Human beings, we do that. So how do we stop that? How do we make sure that we decide how we feel about everything, that nobody outside of us, no matter who they are, whether our significant other, our boss, our friend, our supervisor, our cousin, our uncle, a person we see on the street, a stranger in traffic screaming at us because we, signaled and moved into the lane in front of them, how dare we? Whatever, whoever, somebody will call you a name. And a lot of times, it's not even about you. It's about something that's going on in their life that they're mad about. And it's got nothing to do with you, yet we'll take it personally, and then we'll pile all of our other past baggage on it and feel terrible. And so, my strategy for that, I'm going to give you a tool, the same tool I told my son-in-law last night, is as soon as I notice, and sometimes we are like a runaway freight train and we don't notice right away, but as soon as I notice that I'm doing that and that I'm accepting someone else's label or opinion or feeling or thoughts about me or judgment about me, I stop, I take a deep breath, and I ask myself, well, is that true? And 99.999% of the time, it's absolutely positively false, a lie, or they just don't know what they're talking about, or they don't know me. If somebody calls you a name, say somebody calls me a bitch. If they know me and they have a reason for calling me a bitch, I might ask myself, is that true? And say, well, yeah, I was kind of bitchy in that situation, but just because I act in a bitchy way does not make me a bitch. So, am I a bitch? The answer is no. Of course it's false. No matter what anyone calls you, you're not that. You're much more than any one label, any one name. That's why the political situation we're in is so ridiculous and so frustrating that people can just call one another names and leave it out there as if it's true when it's absolutely positively not true. If you call someone a racist, chances are it's a lie, that they're absolutely positively not a racist. And just because you call them a racist does not mean they're a racist. Just because they don't believe in abortion, or they believe in a certain political party, or they believe whatever they believe, does not make them whatever name you're calling them. And it isn't until we accept that label or accept that feeling that people try to put on us that it impacts us. So as soon as I notice that a label or a name or a feeling is coming over me that's coming from outside of me, I say, is it true? Is there any merit to it? And then it's usually not, right? If I'm usually 100% honest, and I can know if it's true or not by how it makes me feel. If it makes me feel bad in any way, shape, or form, negative, heavy, sad, depressed, frustrated, anything in the negative feeling zone, I know it's a lie. I know it's not true for me. It's not true for me right now. So if somebody calls me a racist, I just shake my head and I'm like, you obviously don't know me, because I'm totally not a racist. If you call me a white elitist, you totally don't know me. So I don't own any of those labels. I don't take any of those labels as my own. And when you don't do that, you don't give them any emotional energy, any emotional charge. You don't have to fight and argue with people to prove what you are or are not, because you just get to be you, right? We all get to be who we uniquely are, and nobody else has the right to judge us. They don't. They just don't. You know what? Our higher power, whatever you believe in, has the right to judge you. Any other human being, not so much. And I'm sure there could be people that want to argue with me on that. Go ahead. Have at it. But we're talking about how outside influences make us feel. So if I know it's not true, I'll stop the process of piling on all the past experiences that will prove to me that that is true. Now, could I go through my past and come up with a whole slew of reasons that I am a bitch, or I have been a bitch? Absolutely, positively. In other people's eyes, I could see why they would think I was a bitch in certain situations. But that doesn't make me that name. It doesn't make me feel bad, because it doesn't have any emotional charge to it. I remember in high school, somebody called me something, a name, and I disliked that person forever. I still dislike that person because they called me a name, and I took it personally. And I'm like, it was absolutely, positively, 100% totally not true about me. So why did I take it personally? And why do I still think poorly of that person that called me that name? Why didn't I just at that time, because I didn't know better, say, yeah, totally not true, and just blow it off and not let it impact me at all? But every time I saw that person after that comment, I never liked that person again. I didn't hate him, but I just was like, I had no time for that person, because I thought, why would you assume something about someone that you don't even know? But guess what? People do it all the time, right? Especially now during a politically charged year, people are assuming things about other people and calling them names. It reminds me of the Civil War, right? We're all divided, but we're not. It's just ridiculous. So today, nobody can make you feel any way without your permission. Nobody can make you feel. It's up to each and every one of us how we choose to feel. Our feelings come from inside of us. They don't come from outside of us. Our beliefs are impacted by outside things, but we choose to think them over and over and over again so that they become beliefs. We can actually change our beliefs. Maybe we'll talk about that, setting up for success another day. It's not on my list, but I might just add it to my list. How do we change a belief? How do we, when we recognize that a belief is just something that we've carried with us for the years because of an experience we had before we were 5, and it doesn't serve us anymore, maybe we want to actually on purpose change that belief. But today, test this out. When you notice yourself feeling a certain way because of the environment you're in, or because of something somebody said to you, take a deep breath ask yourself, is this true, or is this just a misunderstanding or a miscommunication, or was I acting kind of rude? Was I being grumpy? Because guess what? We all get to be grumpy sometimes. Sometimes we're just tired. Sometimes we're hangry. Sometimes we're whatever, but that comes from within us, and we know how we feel. Other people can assume, but they don't ever know who we are 100%, what we think, how we feel about anything. So any judgment or any snap decision or any comments they make are really kind of irrelevant, right? Of course, that's situational. We could get deep into that, but for the most part, I'm with Eleanor Roosevelt. Nobody can make you feel inferior without your permission. Nobody can make you feel anything without your permission. And you don't have to give them permission. Just say no. Yeah, that's not me. That doesn't apply to me. And then pile on all the reasons that you're the opposite of what the person said. So if somebody calls me stupid or a bitch, I'm going to immediately think of all the reasons that I'm not stupid, all the reasons and all the times that I've been kind and amazing, and I haven't been in a bitchy way. All right, I've said bitch enough today for about a year. All right, have an absolutely amazing day. Any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Otherwise, remember to join us in the Get Up and Go Challenge right here on the Get Up and Go Challenge page, or in the Get Up and Go Challenge private group. You can see all of the units, all the previous lessons, all the previous Get Up and Go challenges in there in order in the unit section. You could go back and listen to them. You can look for subject or topics that are of interest to you right now. Maybe you've got a particularly difficult situation. We just talked about how to handle difficult situations a couple of days ago, how to handle difficult people a couple of days ago as well. So check those out and know that it's just here and a resource for you when you need it. All right, have an awesome day, and I'll, of course, see you tomorrow.